Hello everyone, this is Bobbin Threadbare, and welcome back to the Human Revolution. Now this is the good timeline in which I got the security code from Hugh Darrow.
The codes should help you shut down the Ayreon project, Panchaea's security system. When you see it, you will understand. There is no room for this technology in the world. Do not let me keep you. Use the codes and shut down the signal. When you do, the fate of the world will be in your hands.
Well, yeah, but that's like saying that nuclear power shouldn't exist just because nuclear bombs do. Or that, I don't know, that fertilizer shouldn't exist because you can make explosives with it. It's reductive. It's incredibly reductive. Also, where is the camera that fell over? In the cutscene, a camera fell over, but it's that none of them are on the floor. Picus news, I guess. Well, guess I don't have to press any buttons here. But yeah, why do they have a whole conference when Picus News is apparently the only news organization left in the world?
Richard, the lockdown's disengaged. I'm heading back to the hangar to see if those blast doors are open. Have you been able to raise anyone?
I'm picking up several glimmers, but there's too much interference. I think you're on your own, Jensen.
Careful there, Francis. You almost sound like you regret that.
Hey, what do you know? These actually care about each other now. To some extent. Oh. Alright, but yeah, now that lockdown has been lifted, all of these people have come out of... Really, they've come out of nowhere at all to occupy the hallways, and despite the fact that they've all murdered each other before, now they're just sort of standing in place and screaming, not touching each other, which is kind of weird.
Enough! Stop playing around!
Yeah, there was one guy that sort of patrols that hallway there, and I didn't want to have to deal with that, because I don't have to. You just go invisible for a couple seconds, and then all I have to do is wait for this slow-ass elevator. Slow-ass elevator. I mean, yeah, it's a giant tower, but... well, there's only 2 floors you can actually reach, after all. Alright, but yeah, you can see from the radar, there's a bunch of people downstairs. I don't have to deal with that because I did all my scouting beforehand. So I know how to get around them. Efficiently. Quickly. Quietly. Again, don't need the rocket launcher. Man, those guys are in so much pain. So most of the guys around here are basically completely harmless. I mean, they will, like, assault you if they see you, but they have trouble telling what's around them. So I guess how I would put it. So you basically have to run right into them or wait for them to get agitated by one of the ones that is actually able to see you, to spot you and do something. Outside of that, you really don't have to worry about them too much. Emails from back before everything went crazy. I think that door is locked there, by the way, so you have to go through the window. Alright, there's one guy in this area here. And, looks like he's staring at the door, maybe?
I can't let them take
yep,
control.
guess so.
Got to keep control.
Alright, you gonna take a look here, buddy? By the way, do you notice I'm not getting any experience for taking these guys down? Like, that's another indication that, you know, murdering everyone in your path is not necessarily the right solution here. Not anymore. I wonder what all that junk is. Alright. Well, there's a bunch of supplies in the locker room, but there's not much that I actually need. I mean, painkillers, that'll be useful. But aside from that, unless they've got tranq darts around here somewhere or a gas grenade, I'm just not going to use anything. Oh well. Still, I do love my exploration. That's reason enough to go everywhere. Uh-oh. Oh, a barricade. Oh. One last place to spend your money.
You seem relatively normal, Nishvar?
All things considered, yeah. You okay?
Thankfully, I was able to barricade myself in here when things got out of control. So, is it safe to come out now?
No. The rest of the station is still under siege. You better stay here until help comes. In the meantime, is it possible to download Praxis software here?
Yes, of course. No damage was done to the computers. See for yourself.
Well, I suppose an automated system excuses why I still have to pay, even though I'm...
I will remain here, where it's safe. If you need help, or get word of help, please come back.
I suppose it explains why I still have to pay money, even though I am saving this lady's life here. And having all the praxis I can would help in that endeavor. Hualing, I want love. Alright, yeah, so they're explaining that they desperately need all the people in here to get that biochip, which is why a vast majority are going insane. Let me just put this back here since it's still not safe. Restore the barricade, just in case some of the insane folks make it.
This is William Taggert. If anyone out there is listening, I'm begging you, help. We've barricaded ourselves inside the core server room. Many of us are wounded. Please, save us. Please, save us.
Alright, now this is sort of the second area right here. Out of three major areas. First would be the front deck and the tower. These catwalks outside are area 2. Looks like I can open that garage thing there. But if so, I need to make sure that I won't be interrupted. And yeah, nice thing about this is that, yeah, as soon as they spot you, run at you, regardless of what's in the way.
It's happening! It's not here!
Oh, 3 of them, huh?
I can't control them anymore! I don't want it!
That's okay. I got energy to spare. Alright. That neutralizes everybody on this floor. And yeah, I dealt some pain to a few of them, but honestly, it's probably better than staying awake at this point. In spite of everything, I am doing them a favor.
Access granted.
Ooh. Definitely could use that. In fact, let's just put that on my grenade section of my quick bar. But yeah, these guys, the insane people, no equipment, no experience. You can kill them, you can knock them out, you can leave them alone. It doesn't make a difference. There's the second group. Let's try and get down here without getting spotted. And having accomplished that, I have plenty of gas items I can use to neutralize them. Let's see here. I think another mine would be fine. Alright, now let's jump out here to lure them all into the gas. Oh, yep. Those two were taking their time. But I got them both.
Not real.
Or, huh. I guess he wasn't exposed for long enough. How did you get in on this side? Yeah, you can still find credits, even though there's basically nothing left for you to use it on. I mean, there's a little something left. Come on. Alright, so, you heard earlier, but Tagert's around here. Holed up. Of course, he didn't get the upgrade. I don't think he's even enhanced at all. But he did manage to find a safe place to hide. And it's on the top floor here. Uh-oh. Yep, I believe there's a robot down here on the hallway. There's also a bunch of people in the next section behind that door there. That's another way of getting across this hallway, but this is the most efficient, quickest, easiest. Just walk along this ledge here. Cameras can't spot you. Robots will stay in their pens. And hey, what do you know? You can get to your destination too. What the heck? That's weird how they've got those little grates just there. Right. So, this leads to a hallway past where all of those people are. You can see there. Huh. That guy had a plasma rifle. But yes, I am not going through there, because there is another destination through the ventilation ducts here. Although it is kind of pointless, because in both cases it leads to the same place, and there's nothing in the way. In either way you take. You're not getting around any obstacles by taking this path here. It's weird.
How did you manage to avoid being affected by the signal? Were you in on it with that bastard, Darrow?
No, I just had a healthy suspicion.
Now the governments of the world will finally realize that every one of you should be shut down and disassembled. This technology needs to be shoved back in its box.
Good luck doing that at this point.
Get away! Just get away! I saw what you people did. You killed them all! You even killed each other! It was a massacre! People were pleading on their knees, crying for mercy! And they were all murdered by you augmented monsters! Just go!
Does she even realize what's happening here? I guess not.
That Hugh Darrow is a monster! Such a tragedy. In the right hands, this technology could have helped so many people. If I hadn't made up my mind long ago, this would prove to me that augmentation technology should be under strict controls.
Well, at least some of them are reasonable.
You seem to be unaffected by the signal that Darrow is broadcasting. I suppose that is a military adaptation? We've dabbled in something we shouldn't have, and look at the result.
And these don't have anything to do with the people in this room, since they're just hiding here. They've got some interesting emails.
Mr. Jensen, how ironic that you should be the one to save us from the monsters out there.
Monsters, Tagert? You mean people. Augmented people who've lost all control, lost their reason.
Isn't that supposed to be my line? Unfortunately, it seems your esteemed Mr. Darrow decided to appropriate my point and turn it back on me. In madness and in blood. He has betrayed us all.
So you finally admit it. You are part of this, after all. You have been all along.
It would be pointless to deny anything now, but despite what you think of us, we never wanted augmentations outlawed. All we've ever sought is regulation, rules governing how the technology is developed, and laws that ensure its use for the good of society.
You've raised society above humanity. So who gets to make those rules?
Men with wisdom, strength, and tenacity to know what's right. Proven leaders who distinguish themselves like you, Mr. Jensen. You've certainly earned the right to be one of us. All you have to do is take it.
I'm not looking for glory, Tagert.
Just remember that without control, there's no room for freedom, only anarchy. You were a policeman once. You know the importance of order.
I know there's a difference between order and slavery.
The biochip wasn't supposed to force people to do anything. It merely limited powers so that people couldn't go on killing sprees like the ones taking place right now.
Amazing how well that worked out.
Say what you will, but I know that some part of you agrees with me. Absolute freedom is no different than absolute chaos. Society needs boundaries if it has any hope of surviving. And you, Mr. Jensen, can be the one to give us that hope. Shut down Darrow's signal. Then help me get a message out saying that an accident at VersaLife contaminated the world's neuropozyne supply.
VersaLife? And what if I decided to blame the Illuminati?
The Illuminati is just a name to get rich financiers to invest more money. Besides, do you really think the world will believe in some 18th century conspiracy theory? Do this for us, and you'll ensure a future for mankind, all of mankind, augmented or otherwise. The future Hugh Darrow offers doesn't allow for both.
Let me think about it. All of this is as much your fault as it is Darrow's. You and your cabal.
Perhaps. But all we sought was a safety valve, Mr. Jensen, a means of making sure the world would never spin out of control. The potential of this technology is great, but as we've seen, its potential for destruction is even greater.
Your doomsday scenario doesn't impress me. You'd say anything to stay in power.
Do you think humanity will simply police itself? We do not live in some Eden, Mr. Jensen. Or are you that much like your boss, David Seraph, who envisions a world where everyone is enhanced and suddenly they all love each other? There will always be a need for methods of control.
And conveniently, in your future, the Illuminati will hold the reins.
Not directly. There are organizations already in place that are better equipped to handle certain things. The UN, for instance.
Reimagined, no doubt.
At least somewhat. And this technology will be a great part of it. Imagine, Mr. Jensen, a world governed by common principles. The end to international power struggles, to terrorism. These things can be accomplished if you join us. Stop the signal broadcast and get the word out, Mr. Jensen. Remember, Darrow's vision would set us back for centuries. There will always be a need for boundaries. Without them, society collapses.
I like the point he makes. I like the point he makes about the Illuminati being just a name to get financiers to invest. Because that's accurate, actually, to Deus Ex canon. Like, the Illuminati is really just a name. They will use any and all names that happen to be convenient. That get them the most respect, get them the most money. That is how it is explained in Deus Ex. By the way, just thought I should step in here, show you guys the room. Also, that's a path up there that you can take to get around them without being spotted. But I don't need to care about that, because there's an even more convenient route that I used. But honestly, the Illuminati in this case have the best point. Moving forward, but with restrictions, with regulations, with people in place to make sure that the technology does not go overboard, does not destroy the world in the process. That makes sense. That's how it should be. That is the correct approach.
Is anybody there? Can you hear me? I've got survivors here. We've locked ourselves in a machine room. Please! Help us!
Alright, one last person we can go find. That elevator would take us down to see him. The path over there is progress. There's another way down. And it's more fun. Let's aim and fire. Take these boys out here. Right, but as I was saying, the Illuminati have a point, but there's a problem, which is that they also want to centralize power around too few people, and as we've just witnessed, that can backfire spectacularly. Because one of those people that they chose to be in their cabal just so happened to have a different motive and a different idea of what the future should look like, and he was able to use the power they centralized, they corrupted, they stole from the people, and used it to murder thousands of people, hundreds of thousands most likely, maybe millions. Hard to say. Oh, he actually spotted me too. Seraph security. Well, they're all hostile now.
It'll be easier if you...
Oh, I didn't throw that nearly as far as I wanted to. Let's try and get these guys over here into the cloud. It is not working out for me. Okay. Gas grenade. Gas grenade. And I threw it too far. Missed one. Still, I can handle that. But I am all out of gas now. And oh, jeez. Looks like they've trapped all the hallways around here leading into their safe room. So many frag mines. You can hear the next one beeping. And, yeah, I kind of have to jump to get to it. It's probably not going to work out. But, no. It did not work out. Luckily, I ducked in time, so I avoided any damage from it. But yeah, that's the safe room right there, behind that barricade. Move heavy objects can get past it, but there are other ways in, of course, because, you know, you might have no augmentations. In fact, I kind of ignored one of the easiest way in. Jeez, look at that. But I got enough time.
Access granted.
Alright, where does this go? Oh, dear. More frag mines. Jeez, look at how many are in my inventory. 10 going on... Oh, what the hell? Seriously? Like, climbing up onto that jack? Is that what set it off? Alright, so... weak wall here. Doesn't look like there's anyone behind it. Which is good, because, again, I don't want to murder anybody. But looks like they're taking a long way around to where they heard the explosive blast. Yeah, looking through walls means I can't break through walls immediately. But it does mean that I can flank those guys who went after me Only one of them is showing up as an enemy, though. I could swear I saw 3 of them. Yet another hint that you're not supposed to kill these guys. Well, they must have gone all the way through. But yeah. So I would support the Illuminati's argument, but not their execution. Oh, there's 4 of them. Alright. I can handle that. Just need to eat enough energy bars. Oh, there are 5 of them. Huh. I love that sucker punch, though. I mean, there's no way it would really knock you out, but it's still funny. Storage room up here. Definitely need more bars. Keep finding these security passwords and no actual security. Bad grab. Keep finding these security passwords and no real security monitors to use them on. Oh, hey there, boys.
You're the one who did this.
Lots of explosive barrels around here. Alright, come on. Close together now. Gotta be efficient about this. And you? You look like you're alone. I could swear I've seen that guy back at Seraph. Anyway, reason I went up here to clear the way to the elevator, because that is my only way up. Obviously, I cannot jump up that giant-ass shaft. And I called the elevator because it's a long elevator, and now I don't have to worry about that. Also, these pipes are yet another way of going up in order to get around all of the mad AUG people. Bit hard to get back down without taking damage unless you have the Icarus mod, but still. Also, this is another way through the room, but and around here too. But now that I'm about to find David Seraph again, I think I should just cut the video here and have our chat with him next time. Oh yes, this is the easy way, by the way, the one I was talking about earlier. Yeah, really easy, especially if you take the jump. So, I'll admit that environmental science and world-saving technologies aren't really appropriate for an ultimate human revolution science corner, but the Panchaea structure is really the only good place to bring this stuff up. So despite being off-topic to the main themes of human revolution, today I'll be taking a look at the science of environmentalism, alternative energy, and all the new and interesting ways we're attempting to save the planet. The depth of the issue. So, here's a scientific look at our situation. Sometimes, plant life in bogs and forests grows so fast that it covers dead plants before they have a chance to rot away and turn into soil. Over time, geological pressure starts to build up on the plant matter and the bacteria that eat it, and this fact changes the molecules that the bacteria produce. Much like how yeast in bread doesn't produce alcohol, but yeast in a barrel does. You can't get high-energy hydrocarbons except under these conditions. Anyway, millions of years pass with this happening, and pockets of hydrocarbons become trapped in layers of rock all across the globe. Humans dig them up and eventually realize that combining them with atmospheric oxygen makes them a good source of calories, of heat energy. Heat can boil water and pressurize tanks of steam, pressure that then pushes cylinders and converts heat energy into kinetic energy. This kinetic energy can then either push something along directly or power a turbine and convert into electrical energy because of the way magnetic coils and dynamos work. And so the modern era was born. However, burning fossil fuels has its downsides. Buried hydrocarbons aren't exactly pure even after you purify them, and so dangerous pollutants enter the air when you burn them. On top of that, even pure hydrocarbons convert into carbon dioxide, among other low-energy molecules, and atmospheric carbon dioxide traps the sun's heat. With more CO2, the Earth as a whole warms up. But it's worth noting that the planet has been a lot hotter in the past than it is today. Throughout almost all the Earth's lifespan, it has had no ice caps. The carbon we burn now was once a part of the atmosphere and the ecosystem, and all we're doing is returning it to a level where it used to be. Life on Earth will survive, even if we burn every last gram of coal, oil, and natural gas. The problem comes not from what we are doing, but from the speed at which we are doing it. Carbon emissions have heated the globe 1 degree in 1 century, which on a geological scale is less time than the blink of an eye. The temperature changes are affecting the ocean and air currents and causing all sorts of catastrophic weather events, and that's on top of the other ways we're encouraging disasters, like drying up the wetlands that are supposed to be a river's floodplains, and building dams that can and often do fail. The extra heat is also melting the ice trapped on Antarctica, and while that means that the 7th continent will eventually be habitable, the present-day coastlines on which most of human civilization is built will eventually be underwater. Carbon dioxide is also acidifying the oceans. Atmospheric gases dissolve into the oceans thanks to pressure and the agitation of currents and tides. And fish survive by filtering dissolved oxygen out of the water and using it in their metabolism. Well, that happens to carbon dioxide too, and we call dissolved carbon dioxide carbonic acid. It's not a very strong acid, since 2/3 of the CO2 we produce stays in the atmosphere, but it is enough to harm marine animals that use a lot of calcium. Animals like coral. Now, life forms that use a lot of calcium did exist when there was more carbon dioxide in the air. The existence of chalk proves it, because mineral chalk is, in many cases, the calcium shells of ancient plankton. It's really kind of creepy when you look at it through a microscope. But the point is that even something like coral can exist in a world with more CO2, except for that rate of change problem. Do you remember what I said a couple of weeks ago about how the rate of mutation is so reliable that you can use it to track population migrations? For a lot of species, their mutations aren't coming fast enough to keep up with the changes in the environment. The concept of coral can survive a more acidic ocean, but the coral species out there right now are dying off in droves. And because CO2 levels are still going up, even the resistant coral mutants that pop up can't handle the growing amount of carbonic acid. Life on Earth will survive the carbon dioxide explosion, but life as we know it will not. Humans will survive thanks to our incredible adaptability, but civilization as we know it will not. Not unless we do something. Not unless we change our approach to energy, find a way to stop releasing CO2, and figure out how to cool the planet. And that's why we are starting to do exactly that. Energy alternatives. So, one nice thing about modern technology is that we can convert any energy type into any other type. Some of the energy does get lost in the conversion, but we can tap into pretty much any source of kinetic or heat energy and turn it into electricity. First of all, there's hydroelectric power. The movement of water generates a lot of kinetic energy thanks to the effects of gravity, including the gravity of the moon, as well as the rain cycle, which is basically powered by solar energy and evaporation. Humans have been making use of water energy ever since we first built a raft and poled it into the middle of a river, and water wheels for milling grain go back at least to the 4th century BCE. The first hydroelectric dam entered operation in 1882, not long after city electrical grids showed up in the first place, and they continue to be one of the most reliable energy sources around. These days, hydroelectric energy is extending into the oceans. Basically, you can exploit tidal power by anchoring a pillar into the seabed, attaching a few water turbines, and as the tides roll in and out, it spins the turbines and generates electricity. The problems are that you need strong tides to make the turbines worth the cost. Seawater is very corrosive, and it's a lot harder to redirect a strong tide so you can build the thing than it is to redirect a river so that you can build a dam. So while it is a reliable source of energy, tidal power plants are still pretty rare. Then there's wind power. Exploitation of wind doesn't go back quite as far as water, even if you count sailboats, but wind-powered contraptions go back at least to the 1st century CE, and windmills date back to Persia during the 9th century CE. Wind turbines used to gather electricity are almost as old as hydroelectric dams, the first one being built in 1887. But from the start, wind has been less reliable than water and generates less energy. Air may feel more energetic, but there are a lot fewer molecules in air than in water. Plus, rivers don't, just stop moving every few days. Still, on the bright side, air is everywhere, whereas rivers with strong currents aren't. You can also put up wind turbines on farms without sacrificing much of the farmland. Wind turbines aren't that efficient, and they have this habit of breaking down all the time, but hey, every little bit helps. Next, there's solar energy. The sun is, after all, the reason why Earth isn't a closed energy system, and it's the reason why water evaporates, and plants can generate the high-energy carbohydrates they need to grow and survive. Solar panels work a little differently than our other energy-gathering methods. Rather than converting heat into kinetic energy into electrical energy, solar panels skip all the middle parts and convert solar energy directly into electricity. Essentially, photons from the sun knock electrons from a negatively charged layer onto a positively charged layer. The electrons then keep going until they reach a third metal layer that connects to the top of the first layer so that the electrons can make a full circuit. And on the way over, the electrons feed through a power source that charges batteries, runs a home's electrical equipment, anything you want. The fact that solar panels skip all the middle bits and convert sunlight directly to electricity makes it one of the most promising alternative energy sources today, especially since it benefits from the way computer technology is advancing by leaps and bounds. The most efficient solar cell design started out at 22% in 1976, and the most efficient today stands at 46%. That's over twice as much energy per square inch, and the efficiency rates are still going up. Less expensive solar cells are less efficient, but their numbers are also climbing. There are issues with cloud cover and changing seasons, but if we used solar cells to tile every roof in America, we would have enough energy to power the nation. The last big energy source is nuclear. Instead of relying on solar radiation or hydrocarbons, we use the radiation created by unstable heavy elements. Nuclear plants work basically the same as fossil fuel plants. Rods of purified uranium heat water into steam, steam turns turbines, and you get electricity. Uranium doesn't have nearly as much energy as the sun, but it lasts for quite a while, and it's astonishingly efficient at converting radiation into electricity. The biggest downside of nuclear power is that the water the rods are in becomes radioactive itself over time. But that's not that big of a problem if you can store it in a dry, tectonically stable area, and America has plenty of places like that. With all the safety systems in place and fully operational, nuclear plants make for great alternative energy. Chernobyl was a comedy of errors under Soviet mismanagement. 3 Mile Island was an American comedy of errors, where the safety systems worked, and the released radiation only maybe caused a mild increase in the cancer rate downwind. It's hard to say for certain, since the studies performed later are conflicting, and that's even after you toss out all the ones that weren't scientifically peer-reviewed. And Fukushima, the plant survived a major earthquake and only failed because of the tsunami, and the cleanup has been entirely successful. Then there's the issue of vehicle power. Charging a city grid is all well and good, but vehicles need an independent power source so that they can transport goods and people from one city to another. Like stationary energy, vehicle energy has several options available. Each one has upsides and downsides. Fully electric vehicles, or EVs, run on battery power and charge up from a plug. The infrastructure for EVs is growing, but the range of an affordable EV is still around half that of a gas-powered car. That's good enough for local drives, but Americans like to take long vacations, and they can't in an EV. Plus, even the latest charging stations take like an hour to fully charge a car. Then there's the rare earth metals you need for the batteries, the added manufacturing pollution. EVs aren't a slam dunk, is what I'm saying. Ethanol became a renewable energy darling a few years back, but you need an engine specifically built for ethanol. The fuel increases food costs since we mostly use corn to produce it, and while it's less polluting than gas, it's not exactly clean energy. Then there's hydrogen fuel cells. Hydrogen is an interesting option for vehicle fuel since it costs more energy to create than to burn, but all you need to make some is electricity, a fairly simple device, and some water. If we fix our city power issues, it would be easy to use excess energy to create portable hydrogen for vehicles. You can get the same kind of range and power as a gasoline car, and all it would produce is water. There is one big problem, though. Hydrogen is dangerous. Since a hydrogen molecule is just a couple of protons, it has this ability to leak through just about anything, including solid objects. It doesn't take much heat to burn, so it's incredibly dangerous during an accident. It also has this way of embrittling metals, which makes leaks even more likely. But car companies have apparently found ways to address these issues, and mass production fuel cell cars are starting to appear in limited markets around the world. Fixing the problem. If carbon dioxide is heating up the world, the solution would seem to be obvious. Get rid of it. Plants do this all the time in a process called carbon fixation. Human Revolution mentions one possible or partial solution called iron seeding or iron fertilization. See, something you should know about the Earth is that the majority of atmospheric oxygen does not come from the forests or the jungles. It comes from the millions of square miles of oceans full of photosynthetic algae. Like land-based plants, algae needs plenty of CO2 to photosynthesize, but it also needs trace amounts of iron to construct the right molecules. So, people found out that you can cause an algae bloom by dumping powdered iron into parts of the ocean where iron is otherwise rare. Unfortunately, this isn't much of a solution. Not only would you have to dump millions or even billions of tons of iron to really make a difference, algae also needs other nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus. And when populations grow in one spot, it means that populations can't grow in other spots because nutrients are no longer flowing to those locations. So you aren't even doing as much good as you thought you were. Panchaea was built to perform this iron seeding along with what Hugh Darrow calls geothermal management. Presumably what he means by this would explain why the facility is a giant pipe that goes all the way down to the ocean floor. It cycles cold water from the ocean floor up to the surface, and in so doing, it lowers the ambient surface temperature by letting heat essentially sink deeper into the ocean. Of course, there is a problem with this, which is that the ocean already cycles naturally. Up, down, left, right, pretty much every direction. And it's because of heat differentials, like the one between surface and deep ocean temperatures. So while a 1.5 kilometer installation is impressive by human standards, on a geological scale, even 5 of them probably won't do much good. But to move away from human revolution, another proposed solution to carbon fixation is something called carbon farming. It's actually a very direct solution. Go to an area with arid soil and introduce a plant that grows well in those conditions. Some researchers suggested Barbados nut plantations, but that's just one example. The problem, of course, would be the fact that these plants are still part of the ecosystem. Things don't always decay in the desert, which would be a plus for carbon fixation, but plants can only grow so fast in dry areas, and Barbados nuts themselves would return to the ecosystem thanks to human harvesting and consumption. Now there is one solution I've read about which does look promising: creating a new photosynthesis catalyst. A team working out of the Max Planck Institute in Germany has analyzed 17 enzymes that interact with carbon dioxide and created a new one that is much more efficient. Now, even if we figured out how to build it using DNA and RNA, we still wouldn't be able to slot it into a plant, since photosynthesis is a bigger process than that. But there is some potential here. We could add the enzyme to photosynthetic bacteria, where the extra carbon wouldn't do anything but accumulate. We could use microbes to create the enzyme and then refine it out and use it in carbon scrubbing machines. Scaling the machines up to solve a global problem would be an issue, but it would make factories cleaner. And even when you're saving the entire planet, every little bit helps. Thanks for joining me again today in Science Corner, and I hope I'll see you next time when I finally give Philip K. Dick his due.